This video shows how to load supplies into the i7500 standard configuration printer using manual rolls. If you are using i75 series smart rolls or the Peel configuration printer, consult a different video on the Brady website. A few things to point out on the printer first. Start with the printer on, the print head open, and the printer empty. Pay particular note to the white arrows that show where to feed the media. The solid white arrows show where to feed your printable labels or tags, and the hollow white arrows show where to feed the print ribbon. To start, let's make sure we have a manual ribbon. If your ribbon looks like this blue one, that is an i75 series smart ribbon, and that's the other video. So the first thing we're going to do is load our ribbon roll, and we want to make sure it's oriented properly. The ribbon should be coming off the back of the roll as such, with the ink on the outside so that it ends up facing down against the labels once loaded. Slide the ribbon onto the ribbon spindle and make sure it's centered. This is a center justified printer. The best way to center that ribbon is to stand directly in front of the printer and lower your gaze to align it visually until it's in the middle. There are also marks on the ribbon spindle to help you align it in the center. Now that the ribbon is centered, simply thread it following the hollow white arrows down underneath the print head mechanism and over that tension dancer bar, up in front, over the silver roller for anti-wrinkle, underneath the take-up spindle and secure it with the tab. Again, following the hollow white arrows. Turn the supply take-up 4 or 5 times until you've got good tension and there are no wrinkles in the ribbon against that roller. So for your label roll, let's make sure we have a manual label roll. If your roll looks like this with a long, slender, rectangular RFID tag, or there's an i75 icon on the roll, that's a smart roll and that's the other video. There are 2 types of manual rolls. One manual roll will either have no RFID tag at all, or a manual roll might also have an older generation RFID tag that is much more square shaped. It looks like this. Those are both manual rolls in the i7500 printer. Take your manual label roll and hang it on the media hanger and immediately close the centering flange, which automatically will center the roll. Before threading the media, take a moment to notice the screen in front, which is going to ask some questions about the roll, which we'll get to in a minute. Start threading the label media through the print path, following the solid white arrows. Print media goes under the dancer bar and up into the print path. Move the leading edge of the media forward till it stops in the middle of the black rubber roller. It's a good time to point out that you want a nice, clean, straight across cut on the leading edge of your media. You want to make sure that leading edge is not too far forward and not too far back, but right in the middle of that roller. Once the media is positioned at the leading edge properly, simply turn the yellow wheel to move the centering media guides up flush against the media. Not too tight and not too loose. At this time, to prevent the media from back slipping, introduce some slack and lay the media down on the floor of the chassis, and that will help with that. The media is threaded forward. Now in manual printing, you will need to set the sensor to the right roll type installed and move the sensor light to the proper location. We will use the control panel display to do that. First, we have installed a notched media, so we will tap that and hit next. Now, you will use the slider to move the sensor light to the right location as indicated by the illustration, which shows that for a notch material, the green light goes right over that tiny notch. You will use the gold slider for large movements and the end arrows for micro movements as you get closer to that notch. When done, tap next. After setting the sensor and moving the sensor, verify it's in the right spot, and simply close the printhead. In manual printing, you will need to feed calibrate out some blank labels so the printer can look at the manual roll and tell where the labels start and stop. When the printer completes this process, tap the cut button or tear off if using a tear bar. And now the printer is ready to receive a manual print job, where the user would do trial prints to get the desired output, adjusting variables such as heat and speed and offsets, as you would typically do in manual printing. In the event that the blank label feed out label calibration step encounters a problem detecting the material, you will see extra labels have fed out and the printer will display a warning message. This usually means that you just need to double check those settings. Tap the Try Again button, open the printhead. Feel free to slide your material back so you don't waste those extra labels that fed out. And simply double check that you've got the right roll type selected, which we do, it's notched. Next. And then double check the light is in the right location per the illustration, making any minor adjustments as necessary. And when done, tap Next, close the printhead, and repeat the feed calibration label calibration step. And we did correct our minor mistake, and we are ready for a manual print job to be sent to the printer with a successful label calibration step. If, after checking their settings, the printer displays the warning message again, this means you may need to do a full sensor calibration specific to the material that's installed. This can happen with ultra-thin materials and specialty low opacity materials, which can be difficult for the standard label calibration process we showed to detect. When doing a full sensor calibration, there are two sequences depending on the size of the label you're using, one for smaller labels and one for larger labels. The printer will determine this automatically and walk you through a wizard accordingly. To start the process of a full sensor calibration, tap the sensor calibration button and follow the prompts. First, open the printhead, do a quick verification of the type of label, tap Next, and then verify the sensor light is in the right location per the sketch. Now, feel free to pull those labels back so you don't waste them, and close the head when done. Tap Next, and the printer will do a short verification of media position. And since it's a smaller label, it would immediately begin sensing gaps and label values to establish new values for the sensor for this material in manual printing. This will take some time, up to 45 seconds of back and forth operation. When done setting the values, a length of media will come out of the printer. The next step is to open the printhead, pull that media back so again you don't waste those labels. And once you close the printhead and tap Verify, the printer will now perform a simple label calibration with the new values you established for the sensor. When done, tap OK, tap the Cut button, and now you're ready to accept a manual print job for your smaller label. Now, we'll show you that same wizard and how it changes for a label that is larger, which requires a couple of extra steps. For a larger label size, the printer will perform a slightly different wizard. Again, starting at the error message screen, simply tap the sensor calibration button. Open the printhead. Verify the correct roll type is selected. Verify the sensor light is in the right location per the illustration on the screen. Tap Next. Now, slide the material back so you don't waste those labels until the leading edge of the media is in the middle of that black roller. Be sure not to remove the roll. Close the head. Tap Next. The printer now does a short movement initialization just to verify things are in the right location. Now open the head, pull out the media, leaving the roll in place. Remove several labels to expose 3 to 4 inches of empty liner. Now the printer will take a reading of the empty liner. Pull the media back until the green light is beneath empty liner. Close the head, tap Next. The printer is taking that reading of the empty liner only and establishing a value. It's normal for there to be no sound or movement during this step. Open the printhead again. Carefully move the media fold forward, leaving that roll in place until the green light is now directly beneath a label. Close the head again, tap Next, and the printer takes a value reading of the liner with the label. Again, no movement, no sound during that step. Open the printhead again, pull the media forward, and cut off the empty liner. Slide that media back until the leading edge is in the middle of that black roller per the illustration on the screen, and close the head. Tap Next. The printer takes the 2 values that it established and runs a distance of labels out to take a reading one after the other, label gap, label gap. Now open the head so that we don't waste all those labels. Let's pull those back in to the leading edge in the middle of the roller. Close the head again and tap Verify. Tapping Verify actually performs a standard label calibration using the 2 new values at this point. You can see that this was successful. Tap OK. Tap the Cut button, which is required. And now the printer is ready to accept a manual print job. Remember, now that you have done a label-specific full sensor calibration, the printer is, for manual printing only, calibrated specifically to that material that we just installed. If for any reason you wish to undo that specific calibration and go back to defaults when using other manual materials, it's very simple to do. Tap Settings, go to System Configuration, scroll down to Sensor Calibration, open the printhead, and simply tap Reset Default. It confirms that you want to do this, yes. And now, for manual printing only, the printer is set back to detect a broad range of manual materials, and your specific full sensor calibration has been now overridden back to defaults. Remember, sensor full calibration only impacts manual printing and has nothing to do with how the printer senses automatic or i75 smart materials.